After her death, Al Pacino finally said the words he had buried for more than 40 years. "I loved her." It was quiet, simple, and devastating. For decades, Hollywood had guessed what he never confirmed, that behind every role, every award, every silence, there was one woman he never stopped thinking about: Diane Keaton. On the morning of October 11th, 2025, California sunlight was just breaking through when the news hit every newsroom. Breaking: Diane Keaton dead at 79. Within minutes, black and white photos from Annie Hall and The Godfather filled social media feeds. That tilted smile, those round glasses, images replaying like the film of everyone's memory. But in one Beverly Hills home, time simply stopped. Pacino, now 85, sat motionless as the headlines scrolled across his television. A cup of coffee slipped from his hand and spread across the floor. He didn't move, didn't speak. A housekeeper later said he whispered one word: "No." Reporters camped outside his gates, waiting for a statement that never came. Because this loss wasn't just Hollywood history. It was personal. The woman the world remembered as Kay Adams had once asked him to marry. Her. He'd answered with silence. And now, there was no second chance. To understand that silence, you have to go back to 1971. A smoky New York bar. A young actress in a cream knit dress waits nervously for her audition. Francis Ford Coppola tells her, "Michael Corleone is on his way." Then the door opens. Al Pacino walks in. He barely says a word. They stare at each other through the haze, acting out a simple scene. When it ends, Coppola whispers, "I've found my Kay." And Michael's found the one woman he can never possess. From that moment, their story began. On set, she was warm and spontaneous. He was quiet, unreadable. Every night she left a cup of coffee near his chair. He never said thank you, but the cup was always gone. Months passed, the connection deepened. Not through words, but through presence. And when The Godfather premiered, the world saw it. The chemistry. The way two people looked at each other like the cameras weren't there. Fame came fast. She became the face of wit and independence in Annie Hall. He became the symbol of power and restraint. But privately, the space between them grew. Diane wanted commitment, something real beyond the lights. Pacino hesitated, afraid of being tied down, afraid of becoming his parents' marriage all over again. When she finally said, "I want to marry you," he said nothing. And silence, this time, was an answer. She walked away and never came back. Years passed. Diane adopted 2 children, built a peaceful life, and found meaning in motherhood. Pacino kept working, chasing the next role, the next film, the next distraction. When asked why he'd never married, he'd half smile and say, "It's a scene I could never play." People laughed, but it wasn't a joke, it was regret. In 1989, Coppola brought them together again for The Godfather Part 3. When they met on set in Sicily, there was no greeting, just a long look between two people who knew every word they'd never said. During one scene, Michael Corleone takes Kay's hand. Pacino whispered, barely audible, "I'm sorry." Diane's tears were real. Coppola didn't call cut, he just let the camera roll. That unscripted apology became the emotional core of the film, a moment so authentic it felt like real life, breaking through fiction. After the trilogy ended, they drifted apart again. Diane found peace in quiet mornings and gardening. Pacino found company in characters darker than himself. Friends said he had everything: fame, wealth, children, except someone who stayed. And when a reporter asked if he'd ever been truly in love, he paused, then answered softly, "Once. Everything after that was just an audition." In 2024, Pacino released his memoir, Sonny Boy. It was filled with memories of his childhood and career. But one chapter stopped everyone cold, titled simply, Diane. He wrote, "She helped me stand when I thought I couldn't. We found the right rhythm and the right temperature. It wasn't flowery. It was raw, almost childlike, and for the first time, he admitted she had saved him. Critics called it his quiet farewell, a man finally making peace with his past. Then, barely a year later, Diane Keaton was gone. There was no public funeral, no spectacle, just privacy and love. That night, Pacino didn't appear anywhere. He stayed home, lights off. Sonny Boy opened to the page that carried her name. On it, a new handwritten line trembled across the paper. I loved her. Hollywood loves perfect endings, but theirs was never meant to be one. It was a story told in glances, in silence, in what was never said. Diane Keaton, the woman who turned independence into art. Al Pacino, the man who learned too late that love isn't weakness, it's courage. And maybe that's why their story still moves millions, because sometimes the most powerful love stories are the unfinished ones. Do you believe love needs a happy ending? Let us know your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories.